that true forgiveness, in my opinion, is if the person that did you wrong had changed, like say they did you wrong a year ago, now they're a new person, they're different. I think that you can truly forgive someone when they are a better person. But when you saying that you're forgiving someone, after they did you wrong, you're like, oh, I forgive you. I don't think people are truly forgiving others. I think they're just accepting that they did something wrong. And then now the person wants to move on in their life. So they're like, okay, I'm going to accept what they did. I'm going to say that, this is what they're going to do. This is who they are. But I'm going to move on and make sure that it doesn't hinder my thoughts and my process in life. I don't think that someone's truly forgiven that person. It's just accepting who they are. But giving access to somebody after they did you wrong, I would say that's a form of forgiveness. Because why would you give them access to something that you was betrayed on? You wouldn't do that. That means that you fully forgive them.
So forgiving has to be giving somebody access, is what you're saying?
Yeah, because if you were so hurt, why the hell are you doing it again? Giving them access to do something over and over again.
That means. But why can't you forgive the person and not give them access and be happy?
Because so if a person doesn't change and they have the capability to do it again, that means that you're forgiving them for their actions. And
forgiveness is about you and not the other person. So as long as you're at peace with being at peace with what went on, giving them access makes the forgiveness about them.
But if they did it again, then how are you going to feel?
I'm not giving them access for them to do it again. I'm just going to forgive them from afar.
If you're hanging out with them, that's giving access for them to do some stupid shit again. That's how
I can forgive you and never see you again and be at peace with it, because forgiveness is for me, not for them. So I don't have to give you access to forgive you. I'm not going to talk to you no more and still forgive you, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, if you don't talk to them no more, then I don't think that you're truly forgiving them. You're just accepting them and saying, hey, I don't want you in my life. You can't forgive somebody if they ain't never changed. What are you forgiving? Because if
I'm forgiving the action and learning from what happened by keeping that person away. So you don't think you can forgive somebody without having that person in your life? That's nuts. That's crazy.
I don't believe in forgiving people that just
hold on, Sweeney. Let me get Paradise in there, then we'll go to you, Sweeney. Go ahead, Paradise.
Yeah, Sweeney, you talk too much.
Okay.
Every relationship takes two people to participate in. And if it ends, it only takes one person to agree to end it. I don't need your permission to end this relationship. I do need your permission to participate in having the relationship be successful. So if you do something that goes against my boundaries and I don't like what you did and I chose to stop the relationship, you can't weaponize my forgiveness by you also still being a part of my life because you want to have access to me. And it's like, I think that's where people forget they lack control. You don't get to choose if people want to walk away from you. And really, it's just a cause and effect thing, right? Like, I can forgive you. I can understand that I don't want to hurt you back. I can understand that I don't want to minimize you or go on a slander campaign of your character. But I also don't have to allow this relationship to continue. Because at some point, I can have my breaking point, and you're not the determination of my breaking point, especially if you were the person who did whatever it is that allowed me to end the relationship. So I do think that we have to understand that forgiving somebody doesn't necessarily mean that you want to continue a relationship with them. I can forgive you. I can understand that our chapter is closed and we are going to go on with life. And I can also wish you well without trying to give any type of revenge or vendetta against you.
And can I add to that, to what she said? I think we're still putting it on looking at one side as well too, instead of both sides. If someone does forgive you, I believe in you being the person, the receiver of the person having a remorse, and someone forgiving you, you have to give them permission to do what they choose to please. If you truly are sorry as a person too, and then you are apologizing. So if I'm apologizing to someone I love and they're forgiving me, I have to accept what direction they want to go from that point on if I truly am apologetic for what I've done as well too. Especially if the person's giving me that forgiveness. So there's the possibility of guilt living in my life for the rest of my life. And the fact this person no longer talks to me or ignores me without any response whatsoever. And I hurt this person. But if the person even gives you the grace of saying, you know what, we spoke about it and I forgive you, then you should accept the fact that this person has to determine which way they're going now, but at least they gave you that grace for you to be able to live with the fact of what you did, but they still forgave you for that action as well.
Right, because forgiveness is mine. And also me staying in a relationship is my choice. I choose who I want in my life. And if I make the choice to say, you know what, this ain't working for me for whatever reason, and it could be that was just the last straw. It could have been a straw that broke the camel's back. To orchestrate how another person responds to disrespect is kind of selfish. It's very narcissistic. You can't tell me, oh, well, since you forgive me, you got to let me in your life. That ain't how that works.
I think where we had the loss in translation is kind of how I positioned it to Trev was a very black and white situation, right? And I think it was very easy to separate forgiveness from with access when you're talking about it within the context that I gave them. But I'm noticing that the context that y'all are referring to is within relationships, right? And the reason why it's always synonymous with one another is because when you forgive somebody within a relationship, they still are like it's done within the context they already have access to you, not that you removed access, right? So it's not the situation where you break up with them, you leave them, you go about your business, and then one day you say, I can forgive that person for what they did. It's normally a situation where if say for instance, a woman gets cheated on, right? And they have their conversations, they go to counseling and things like that, and she forgives him. He still has access to her during that entire period of time. That's why we tend to kind of like have this problem with understanding how to separate forgiveness from access. And even when we were talking about it in the sense of what Ali was talking about, like for instance, a friend. If that person is still your friend, even when they did something to you, they still have access to you friendship wise. And that's why it's kind of difficult to remove access to that person, even if you don't forgive them. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, but what Lady Di was saying, if sometimes people you can still have access to the person even if you forgive them, right? But it's about if that behavior actually changed. So people could be like, hey, I accept you, I forgive you, and it's the notion that it's changed behavior. But most of the time when people completely leave, it might have been a mistake, it might have been an accident, and now it's something they're going to sustain from now on. It's who they are. People change or people go different directions. But when you forgive and you want to give someone access, you no longer can give them access because their behavior hasn't changed. So true love, I would say, is what Trev said before. Like you forgive, I give you access. But I think most of the times when people don't give access anymore, it's that person has changed and they're moving in a different direction and they want to keep from continuously being hurt. So if someone isn't change behavior is the greatest form of being apologetic. We would all agree, correct? Is change behavior. But if that person hasn't changed their behavior, I forgive you, but I know your behavior isn't going to change and it hasn't changed. And everything you've done thus far, even in your apology, your behavior isn't changing.